welcome to the Deltahead stream. I am James Howell, and tonight we're going to do part 5 of Killer7, Suda Goichi's first international release, and a game that's very challenging in, well, depending on whether you're playing Killer 8 difficulty, gameplay-wise, but also in terms of content and some of the themes that it grapples with, and also the way that it tells its story, which is what it is sort of most notorious for. Somewhat bizarrely enough, because it is an aggressive game. But yeah, so we will take a look at that in a second. As far as the pre-game show goes, it has been a good week of reading. Let's see. Oh, I was able to go through this again. This is a very quick read. Hojoki, which is a what year was this? Late 12th century. This is written by let's see, Kamo no Chome, and let's see, he lived through, like, I think an earthquake and 2 large urban fires, just like 3 natural disasters, 3 more than I personally have gone through in my life, and hopefully that will continue to be true with climate change. But yeah, just somebody who's seen a lot of rough times, and he's writing about his view on life, what going through all that means. Evening, Iceman Dan. It's good to see you. Yeah, no, there's still time. I know. I don't know if that's an optimistic note that I mean, many people would chime it as such, but who knows? Yeah, I mean, the optimism is that I'll be around for that long. But yeah, anyway, that remains to be seen. Anyway, yeah, Hojoki is it's lovely. It's elegiac. It is a dirge for human impermanence, and also about the merits and the values of a solitary life and life of detachment, which one can imagine if one has been through 3 calamities, that detachment would seem like a pretty sweet deal. Evening Shantae, it is verse. This translation, let's see. Yeah, if you entrust yourself to the care of others, you will be owned by them. If you care for others, you will be enslaved by your own solicitude. If you conform to the world, it will bind you hand and foot. If you do not, then it will think you mad. And so that's this plane of existence right there, isn't it? Those are your options. So yeah, so it's very it's good. It's good stuff. The translator on this is translated by Yasuhiko Moriguchi and David Jenkins, with illustrations by Michael Hoffman. The title is Hojoki Visions of a Torn World. So, highly recommend. And also, in a very different literary tradition, Sartor Resartus by Thomas Carlyle, who is very close to my heart, a Victorian English essayist who, honestly, just guy was born in the wrong time. He is right there with Gerard Manley Hopkins at being a romantic, having a romantic temperament and a romantic soul, and a much stuffier social climate. And it's very strange to see him fuse kind of very sort of like English Calvinism with some of its rigidity with the looseness and mysticism of German Romanticism. And if those categories mean nothing to you, let me just tell you that he combines the ethic of hard work with the transcendence of seeing the face of truth. And it's interesting, and not in kind of like the Voltaire Candide way, where like work is the only thing you can rely on in life, but it's more playful than that. Anyway, Sartor Resartus is just largely agreed as Carlyle's best work. I've read a lot of his smaller essays and love it, and one of his longer books that I don't remember right now, but I've never read this one, so we're jumping into that. And the first 20 pages flew by. It does this weird thing that historical fiction does. You'll see this in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. You'll also see this in Bram Stoker's Dracula, where if there is a fictional person being created in the fiction, they will go through great lengths to justify why they are writing about it in order to set up the literary device. So why are you reading all of these letters written by people who were, you know, hunting a vampire? Well, Stoker's going to give you a reason. Why are you reading all of these diaries, entries that that detail how Frankenstein built his monster? Mary Shelley's going to tell you that, and he does the same thing. So part of me wants to skip it. The other part of me is like, you know, what's 70 pages of context? What am I here for? So... But yeah, so that's the book part of the pregame show, and today for visuals, this actually connects with Killer 7 very nicely. It is a, I believe a 1960 cop and robber movie, 1968 by Kinshi Fukasaku called Black Lizard. And it does one thing that is really interesting with narrative technique in terms of compressing time of a crime occurring, and we're going to look at that, and then also kind of look at the way that this movie adopts the role of a storyteller and self-consciously does so, but without breaking the fourth wall. This is really cool, and people think that addressing the audience, the only way you can do that is addressing the fourth wall. Well, let me tell you what, storytellers have existed for a long time, and you were super aware that they existed because they were telling you the story, and this movie does that. Oh yeah, oh, Borges and Carlyle, that's like peanut butter and jelly. I can see it. Yeah, Carlyle is somebody who, even though you might see that you can see the Victorian sensibilities and the rigidity might turn you off. At the same time, you can absolutely see the softness and the glow of the spirit that's coming through, and people who have that, who can reflect that back, absolutely see it and attach onto it, and they see what Carlyle is doing in the context of his context. But yeah, let's take a look at this. So this is Black Lizard. This is the title shot. And apologies, I've got some notes here that I want to pull up and look at. And unfortunately, that kind of kicks off chat. So I'm going to have to kind of bump chat off to the side while I read this. But I promise you I will catch up as soon as we're done. So, yes, this is Black Lizard. It is based on a play by Yukio Mishima, one of the most internationally celebrated writers in modern Japanese language, and a fairly bombastic figure at that. If you want to see a big personality, you can take a look at him. But he actually has a cameo as a statue in this movie. But yeah, there are a lot of subplots in this one, but the core story is it's one of these things where, like, there is a detective named Akechi, and there's a criminal who is a woman who goes by the name Black Lizard, and they develop a romance that becomes inextricable from the cop and robber dynamic. And the moment that I want to look at is where they're having their sort of one of the great things about detective focused crime stories is that it's focused on one person solving a crime rather than a unit or a group or a department. So having one person there to act as the voice of the investigation enables these like battle of wits moments, and those are always very fun and exciting because you like to see who's playing nine-dimensional chess better, and it's great. And so this is that moment for them. So real quick, let's see if I can bump. Yeah, there's the Black Lizard. Yeah, so danger usually exists in the midst of boredom. So yeah, this is Akechi saying, talking about his philosophy of the stakeout, which is great. Danger usually exists in the midst of boredom. The white sheet of tedium suddenly smolders to reveal a crime's profile. Like, Akechi's view on crime absolutely would fit into Suda Goichi's view of crime in, like, The Silver Case. It's great. It's like this sort of like quasi, almost mystical way of viewing it as just like an integral part of nature and the unfolding of time and history. And it's really good, rather than something to be stamped out once and for all by justice. Yeah, so that's good. So just to kind of summarize what is happening at this moment and why this is really interesting. So Black Lizard sends a message to Akechi. I'm going to kidnap this person at midnight. Akechi's like, oh no, you're not. I'm going to go there and I'm going to wait until midnight until you show up and I'm going to catch you. Black Lizard kidnaps the person at 9 p.m. and has her shuttled away. And so Akechi is on a stakeout for a crime that has already been committed. He, nine-dimensional chess, is several steps ahead and has got one of his associates to tail the kidnapper and then apprehend them and release the victim. So yeah, so she's enjoying the feeling of having fooled Akechi. He's already routed the kidnapping, so he can be comfortable and sort of ham up a little bit the fact that, you know, he's desperate. He can kind of sweat dramatically to give her the satisfaction of the chase. And so their interactions happen while they are waiting for the kidnapper, and there is something that happens here with the compression of time with this event that is really fascinating to me, because it cuts away from them waiting to the person being kidnapped, and then to the kidnapper being apprehended. And what it does is it compresses every aspect of a crime down to a single scene. So you simultaneously have the crime being committed, waiting for the crime to happen, the crime being resolved, and still waiting for the crime to happen. And it all ends at midnight, which is when, you know, she said that that she was going to show up and do the kidnapping. And it's brilliant, because it's like dramatic tension build up, you know, payoff at the same time. And storytelling wise, that just fascinates me. That's mind blowing. That's very cool and sophisticated. I have no idea how intended it was, but the effect is amazing. Yeah, that is a, you know, it almost doesn't matter if you meant to get there or not, just honestly as a creative person. It just matters that you got there and you know what you got when you get there. And that's it. That's great. And between Fukasaku's sort of like visual imagination and Yukio Mishima's sort of sophistication for storytelling, I have no doubt that those talents got there naturally. But yeah, so yeah, I recommend it. Black Lizard is fantastic. And if you have difficulty finding the movie, which I was only able to rent on VHS, so I do not think it is in circulation as a remaster anywhere. You might, if you want the story, you might look for Mishima's play, which also is translated under the name Black Lizard. But yeah, so there's something else that's interesting happening here. They're appraising each other, but it's a mind game where they're pretending not to know who the other is, while also knowing that the other knows who the other is. So and this is kind of where they're starting to fall in love, and so they're sort of like professing their romance to each other in these super veiled ways, and so again, it's that 9-dimensional chess thing. Let's see. And yeah, the way that she describes Akechi's relationship to crime, which is also, because she is the criminal, her way of describing his relationship to her. So there's the veil there. She is crime. She is equated to crime in this. It would absolutely. Oh yeah, it's enjoyable to wait for its sudden appearance. The appearance of a crime from the white sheet of tedium. But yeah. So yeah, oh yeah, that's where she says that she'll hang out with him. So yeah, she says your professional to relationship to crime must be like a photograph, and it's negative. Your eyes see the same image, and you think like a criminal. Only difference is the one is white and the other is black. And so there's a little bit of you know, sort of like villain and detective. Well, actually, the detective can sometimes be the villain, so let's scratch that dichotomy. Cop and robber, we're not so different, you and I, kind of element, except for the fact that they develop a romance as it goes on. So that's her sort of like expressing their sort of like balance with each other, and that absolutely would be in tune with the way that oh, I forget the detective's name. Anyway, it's from Silver Case, and that would fit in there very nicely. So he kind of accepts this tack of the conversation, and evening, frigid mirth. And yes, I think I already said good evening. Anyway, I'm forgetting the order of things on the stream. If I didn't say good evening already, good evening. And I think I also already answered your question, so I implicitly said good evening. Anyway, let's get back to this. He accepts the conversational tack, and he goes into, so now she's talking about his relationship to crime, which is his relationship to her, and he starts talking to her as a way of praising her. So he says, to commit a crime requires a certain qualification. Well, what qualification is that you need to commit a crime? One that the criminal may not be aware of. And This is building up to something visual that it does, but it does require sort of the context. And I got to say, having subtitled stuff really helps to convey that. So he goes into this little parable. Let's see. Let's consider one woman. She receives a bouquet. Because she loves roses, she holds them close to her. And here we cut away to this illustration, and this illustration style becomes important later. So there's this woman holding the bouquet close. Suddenly a caterpillar appears from between the petals, and we get a close-up of that. Again, you got a big hairy caterpillar. Kind of there on the lower right, you can kind of see one with two eyes and a little slash of a mouth. And with a cry, she hurls the flowers into the fireplace. And that woman is not a criminal. Take another woman. She too loves roses. Upon seeing the insect, she calmly throws it alone into the fire. So she takes the caterpillar off and tosses it. And then she smells the flowers. So she, first woman throws the whole thing in. Second woman takes away the blemish, enjoys it. Third person, she'll neither kill the insect nor burn the flowers. In desperation, she goes to the man who gave her the bouquet and pushes him into the fireplace. And here you get an illustration of that. Goodbye, fella. Check with your florist before giving gifts. Society will call her a criminal, but of those three, she is the most tender-hearted. So that is his way of recognizing that, yes, I do see that when you talk about crime, you're talking about yourself, and I also see your humanity. And what's interesting to me about this, like I've been thinking about like what that parable would mean, and I think that basically, the first two in the example are looking at the gift as a material thing, and they're responding to it as a material thing. And the third person sees it as a gift. And a gift is a different category of thing than a bouquet of roses. A gift is something that is interpersonal and has meaning. And so if the gift has a corruption to it, that means that there's something about the gift giving and therefore the gift giver that has a corrupt element to it. So what she is doing is she's responding to the reality of the relationship. She's responding to this object's real identity, not its appearance. And that's where the tenderheartedness comes in. That's the sensitivity to reality and the ability to respond to it. And that's very interesting to me. And so, yeah, so the visual shift between these moments, they're sort of, very darkly lit, and those monochromatic illustrations that dramatize the parable. And those illustrations are in the same style as the drawings at a club that is owned by Black Lizard, and we see this early on, these sort of like very anguished figures, and these are just like paintings that are around her club. And we also see these, there's her set against a background of it, and we also see these sort of at the end, after she has been foiled, and the logo on the Black Lizard is in the same style as well. And this interests me storytelling-wise, because as he's telling the story, it cuts to these illustrations, and this is not information that the other characters see. We're often used to, if there's something stylistic or something that is not representational showing up, oftentimes it is it's something that's reflecting the psychology of a character, or is showing us something that a character is looking at that nobody else knows. But we actually don't have any reason to think that either character sees those images. The movie just visually links that style of illustration with Black Lizard, and it's the movie's way of saying, while he's telling the story, this is about her. And it communicates to the audience without breaking the fourth wall. And it is the audience, it's the movie as a storyteller. It's not nodding and winking, it's expositing. And that's kind of how I think about the stylized elements of Killer 7. Yes, this is how it relates. Because Killer 7's style is often brought up as one of its most outrageous features. It's weird because that is often brought up as one of its most outrageous features and not the heaviness of the topics that it addresses, one of which I think will come up in our stream tonight. And so a lot of people dismiss it as style over substance, and I think that's such a misleading thing, because the style-substance dichotomy actually removes the idea of a storyteller, because a storyteller, if you have had the pleasure of somebody telling you a story in person, you know that they have a style of speaking and a way of presenting that is entirely unique and that is separate from, but also integral to, the story that you're hearing. And so you just can't separate the storyteller from the story, and that's what the style-substance dichotomy, the reason why I don't really buy into that so much, is because if you take away style as relevant, you take away the storyteller. That's what Black Lizard prioritizes, that's what Killer 7 prioritizes, and all of the different feints, all of the different anime styles between different cutscenes, they all emphasize that these are different perspectives on storytelling. and that's your lens. And what that means, ultimately, is not something I have a conclusion on, but to be able to identify it and honor it as something that has value and not as something that is a frivolity, which is kind of how I think it's often treated and dismissed, is very important. And it's also something that incites my imagination on a very sort of gut, non-analytic level. So, those are my thoughts on those things. And we will hop over to Killer7. Boom, GameCube. Holy crap, congrats, Frigid Mirth. You're better at hunting those things than I am. Iceman Dan, I actually haven't seen Heat. I am not sure what that is. I know the Southern cop drama In the Heat of the Night, which aired on television in the late 80s and early 90s. I have a feeling that is not what you're referring to, though. Screen capturing? I mean, VLC capture. Take a screen cap. It's super unsophisticated because there are certain things in technology I can do really, really well, and other things I can do well enough for my purposes. And that is one of them. Oh, let's see. Evening, Dustin. It's good to see you. Do I have my water in here? Oh, no, I do not. Give me 1 second. While Killer7 is loading up, I'm going to go grab my water because I need it. Me running into 5 different things. I might have just caught this for the first time in my entire life, but it looks like as the Killer 8 logo forms, it looks like the 7 part of it is prominent first. Well, Dustin, I think probably no more. Which one have you prioritized? I'm curious. I mean, honestly, if you are looking at No More Heroes 1 or Killer7, I think those are really good. No More Heroes 2 is not to my taste. But yeah, differences can be there just fine. Let me see. Does it make the 7 or the 8? Yep. It's the 7. Boom, there it is. The 8 comes out on top. Nice work. Oh, I love a good heist film. That's good. It's good. Thank you. I appreciate that recommendation. Oh, I see. I kind of think that both Killer7 and No More Heroes are probably digestible in the same period of time. I mean, well, not digestible, but playable in the same period of time. No More Heroes 1 might be your best preparation. And if you were interested, as a matter of fact, I have a series on YouTube called 11th Heaven Critical Suplex, where I talk about No More Heroes, and I actually interview people. Shantae, if she is still around in chat, was actually one of them. We talked about Slicey Sword. Shinobu, that's it. Shinobu, we talked about that fight and kind of what it means. Yeah, Slicey Sword in No More Heroes probably doesn't mean anything. It doesn't really help. But yeah, if you take a look at that, you'll see some of my thoughts on it, and I'll talk to other people with their thoughts on it too. Oh, awesome! Thank you. I'm really glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear you enjoyed it. Oh, I was actually rewatching the episode with Brennan on it, the pro wrestler, who I think he's rebranded himself as Mace. capital M-A-C-E. But I don't know about rebranded, but has a new name, has a new wrestling name. Anyway, being able to talk with a pro wrestler about the pro wrestling in No More Heroes is fantastic, and it has greatly deepened my appreciation of that element in Suda's games. I hear that, honestly, about having time to play things. One of the reasons why it's useful to keep up the streams is because outside of the times when I can fit some Metal Gear Solid 5 in, I don't have too much time to play games these days either. And we are actually right at the start of Olmeida's fight. We're about to be confusingly introduced to him as a potential benefactor rather than the ruiner of his town. with the knowledge that he gleaned from the Yakumo. Travis strikes again. Oh yeah. Gameplay wise, it became a little tedious for me, but as far as but it's enjoyable. Kind of made me think of what do you call that? Game that probably nobody has played, and it was meaningful to me because I'm a fossil. Smash TV, that's it. It reminded me of Smash TV. Oh, whoa, no, Mask is not our guy here. Or maybe... No, I can just change in the field. I don't know why I'm forgetting basic mechanics. And I actually want him here because these guys are kind of obnoxious. Anyway, yes, Travis Strikes Again is a lot of fun. All right, here we go. We're about to see the reality behind First Life Corporation. Into the Tower of Business. What a great shot. Oh man, I totally dig. Look at how the at the bottom there, the base of the fence, or the wood slats, you can see the silhouette of the grass. I kind of feel like the lower res rather of the GameCube output does that justice. It actually feels more textured than it might look on a higher res, which is to say nothing ill of the PC port. Evening Arc, it's good to see you. So, if you needed a clearer metaphor for how legitimate Andre Almeida's business is, there you go. And this level of flatness and giantosity of sky is pretty reflective of certain parts of Texas. Yes, exactly. Actually, it's very charming to see him sort of very gingerly kind of hold his grenade launchers up as he goes up and down the stairs.
Ah, you made it. Well, how was your trip here? This city I've created is a paradise. Life here is perfectly autonomous, a model of peace. But our corporation, First Life Inc., it doesn't exist, no sir. It just runs commercials. You see, people judge books by the covers. Oh, today's job is done. Ah, yes, you just might be able to meet today's lucky guy. Don't be alarmed. These are good citizens. No heaven smile.
Oh, that's interesting. Almeida doesn't know about the heaven smiles that are all the residents of his town.
Wow, I can't believe it. Relax, Clemens. Your job has just begun. Calm down, or you'll frighten Lady Luck away.
You're right. What should I do?
The voice acting in this is top notch.
First, you need to relax. Your job will be here any moment. Clemens, this is yours. Go ahead, take a spin.
Huh? This car? Is it really mine?
Of course
Space
it is.
liquid.
Now take it and do what you want with it.
It's really, really mine.
Hop in and find out. Bon voyage. Don't drive yourself to death. Come here. Clemens's job had a $5 million price tag. This is what he gets to do. This is what I call driving yourself to death.
It's amazing that the G-forces are doing that, and there's no, like, wind.
Or will he cross the finish line? If he makes it, he wins. I needed bigger thrills, so I infected myself with all kinds of deadly viruses. I overcame them time after time, discovering vaccines and creating medicine on the way. I overcame all the symptoms. But them smileys, whew, they're different. The risks involved are at another realm. I mean, it's flirting with fucking death itself. I want you to kill me. If I catch Heaven's smile, you gotta kill me. I heard you're the only one who can kill them.
This is wild. I'm guessing they're administering Heaven's Smile to him? Or have? That part I've never been super clear on.
I'm General Lynch from the United States Emergency Countermeasure Defense Department. I want to thank you for cooperating in the capture of Mr. Almeida. As you may know, this city is run by the military. This city remains a vital instrument for determining our country's safety standards. So I ask you, forget what you witnessed here today.
General, beginning countdown, sir.
Aim!
On your mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark!
I think it's a fair read arc.
I told you to kill me. Now I'm going mad. I can't control this urge to kill. What are you gonna do about it? Damn. Get this over with once and for all.
Wow, the composition of that shot is visually stunning.
Take cover. Hurry.
Man. Oh, man. That cutscene on its own would have sold me on the game, had I not, were I not already a huge fan of it. So, kind of, what I think is going on there, from what I remember in Hand and Killer 7 and also from that, is, yeah, so Almeida has the, he's got he's got so much going on with him. That guy's busy. He has First Life Corporation, which is a sham corporation, runs commercials only, is used, it also doesn't actually sell anything wholesale, it sells catalogs. Those catalogs are a kind of black market internet, because the internet is down, because digital technology has been shut off and analog is the only way of doing stuff. And in the process, in the background, he's also been using himself as a guinea pig to create vaccines by subjecting himself to viruses and then overcoming them. When he erupted in a geyser of blood, the reason why it stung everybody, I believe his blood is so so virulent, literally, at this point, that that it is deadly on its own as a raw material. And he's also conducting like human endurance trial experiments, hence Clemens's driving himself to death thing, which you know, he I mean, he is if not consistent, right? Because he does it to himself, so he subjects others to it. And he uses his sort of charisma as a cult leader, which is sort of, I think, source to the Yakumo that tract for why he has that. So, yeah. Evening, Rye. It's good to see you. Yeah, the Cloudman is. I think Cloudman and Encounter are two of the chapters that give you some sense of what maybe the Killer 7's life has been like for missions 1 through 32, I think, because I think it starts on 33. These are just kind of like, this is the kind of stuff that they get involved in. There we go. Khan is our man, along with transfiguring into a heaven smile. Almeida managed to rearrange all of the ambulances into a labyrinth. And now I have to find and shoot his hair. Let's see. Oh, man. Oh, I can't leave. I wanted to see if I could get rid of my, my thick blood. So, also, Almeida's ability to turn into this monster is the result, I believe, of all of the... just how virulent his blood is. Combined with Heaven Smiles. Oh, God! He's right there. Got him. Yeah, this is one of the more frightening boss fights because it's both action and jump scary. I believe Clement survives the driving yourself to death experience, and there we go, yeah.
What happened to Mr. Almeida? Huh? This blood. It tastes like Mr. Almeida's. So, he's dead, isn't he? I've always had a sixth sense. If I had only attained Mr. Almeida's level earlier.
Clemens, you're in control of things now. Walk down the path of life. Don't succumb to weakness. take the big risks.
Rest assured, Master Almeida, I will watch over this town. Our way of life stands eternal. May peace rest with our great Almeida, our Messiah.
Well,
The name's Andre Almeida.
Clemens' big day. That's kind of how you could subtitle Cloud Man. Yeah, the fact that, well, one also can assume that Almeida's vaccine testing probably extended to using his acolytes as guinea pigs, because Clemens, notably, did not succumb to horrible acid burns when in contact with Almeida's blood, and also knows what it tastes like. So clearly, the trials were not maybe the most sanitary and scientific. It's almost got a more kind of like a Eucharistic feel to it. I love how they animate the targets. Here's Curtis Blackburn, somebody who's truly evil. And I think the secondary title to Encounter could be Dan's Big Day, because this is where Dan Smith's, the fact he is the dominant persona by virtue of the fact that he actually has a story that develops and comes to a close in this one. And actually, Encounter has the only cutscene that I will actually skip because I find it too distressing. And that happens, I believe, at the start of Encounter Part 2. To let you know the kind of person we are dealing with right off the bat. Yeah, no, Suda absolutely knows how to make a villain. You kind of get a sense of how this works, this transportation during his boss fight. But yes, he is flying, using some sort of levitation to move down the hallways. Yeah, Encounter is a chapter where killer7 again tackles some very heavy stuff. I think this is human trafficking is the topic here. Very dark, and it even though it uses this this surrealistic style to tell its story, it does not treat the topic lightly, and that sort of that mixture of tones is one of the things that I think makes this successful and a very bold kind of game. And that is Ayani Blackburn, who will become his adopted protege. And I think they do something very smart there by having his facial model look very much like Dan's.
Hello, Mr. Smith. The election is drawing near. Have you decided on your vote? If you haven't, please let the Republic Party make the most of your precious vote. Thank you, and have
Actually, that his face looking like Dan's relates to actually something that I think we're about to come up on right here. Again, an instance where the texture of the game shows up in some somewhat shocking ways, particularly with regard to Harmon, but if you sort of look beyond the surface shock, there's something a little deeper happening there, where Samantha is not a good caretaker.
Here. Come on. It's really good. Open your mouth. Ah. Eat, damn it! Hey, what are you doing? Don't just stand there. Get this old fart to eat, will you? Are you gonna finish your meal or what? I don't have time for this shit. You know I'm busy with my classes. Ugh.
So, what's significant about that, besides, I mean, it's obviously shocking, kind of like very big and bombastic, but it emphasizes and underscores exactly how helpless Harmon is in one state, which is very different from the state that we see him in the field, where he has the most powerful gun and is absolutely the sleeping giant, pun unintended. And so Curtis having Dan's face, it's sort of taking two identities and folding them into one, where there's besides like kind of like a father-son sort of dynamic, you have two beings sort of combined into one sort of person. And Harmon is like that as well, where you have these two opposites, these distinct contradictions, and they manifest in the same person in a way that you just sort of have to appreciate the tension of, even if you can't quite figure out what that relationship is. I think what is meaningful there is the tension between them, rather than figuring out exactly what they mean as a unit. And yes, the game pulls no punches. Like I said, it's like Suda knows how to write a villain, and it's not like a Walter White thing where there's any kind of temptation to identify with their villainy. They're just awful people.
Master is awake.
The Surge. It's Curtis.
Curtis? The one who killed Dan years ago.
It's as if fate has woke him up. He'll soon make his move.
Shall I take care of him?
Curtis? No, it's all right. He's just a punk with a gun. Dan's more than he can handle.
As you wish.
Samantha, the lights.
Yes, Master.
And Harmon absolutely knows that Dan is more than Curtis can handle, because I believe Dan's revolt...
Jeez, will someone wax the damn floor?
Dan's revolt as a persona is actually what has got Harmon healing, because he's very hard to control. And the Killer7 Syndicate is not exactly a happy family. And honestly, exactly how bad and unredeemed the villains are in this, I mean, it makes the amoral assassins seem like Boy Scouts by comparison. So it actually makes the amoral anti-heroes seem more like good guys, because that's who they choose not to be.
He's been laying low in the public agency for 15 years.
So he's working for the government.
Rumor has it that he's involved with some kind of organ deals. Organs to be used as raw material for the creation of the Smileys.
So he's after children. That's as vile as you're gonna get.
Hurry! Children are disappearing at the fairgrounds.
Blood of innocent children is unnecessary.
Yeah, so Heaven Smiles have a variety of origins, and one of them, as they're proposed here, is that there is a sort of Frankenstein's monstering of them. And again, the pit of the evil here is that oh, weird, that's past Bainbridge. That's that area is on my map when I look at my region, is that they're kidnapping kids to do this. So, obviously very evil. Yeah, no, they've got a code. There's a time and a place, and kids ain't it. Do I still have my blood from the previous chapter? I bet I don't. I do not. Oh, that's a missed opportunity. Did I? You know, let's just stagger our saves here. I don't think I'll be going back to Cloudman, but you never know. Just in case. I've been listening to a lot more Bach lately. Paul Galbraith's guitar arrangements are gorgeous, and I don't remember the name of the song, but this theme for Ishizaka Land, I swear that I've heard it in Bach. Like, I feel like there's like a little phrase from Bach that was lifted to become the backbone of this, and this is just that phrase on repeat with variations in the background. I'm actually super curious to now go back and to try to read that more specifically. Oh, Miss Travis. Can I hit ya? Gotcha. Oh, I don't remember these ambient sounds.
3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0.
No, yes, Iwazaru is back. His anxieties are assuaged. Can I hit you from here? Oh, shoot.
3, 2, 1. 3, 1, 0.
Gotcha. I gotta admit, as I've gotten older and appreciate the weight of the topics that that Killer7 tackles, revisiting this, I've actually found myself fairly uncomfortable with a great deal of it, which is very interesting. It's interesting to discover that because it's clear that the game takes its topics very seriously, and so it's not a discomfort born from the game's flippancy, but just having to think about the things that it talks about is distressing, which makes it challenging, harder-edged art.
Don't make me say it.
All right, 7 more. I found that, contrary to what I have heard happens, or can happen, that, you know, the longer you're around, the duller you become to certain things. I find that the older I get, the more sensitive I become to many things that I was able to sort of just kind of breeze through. What is down this way? You know, this doesn't feel right. Let's have Khan run through here. This is an amusement park. Coyote is just a chaperone. Yeah, I think it comes from, I mean, the more experience you have, the more you appreciate certain things that might have seemed simple or lesser when you knew less about them, and so it's a good thing, I think. Oh my god! I also can't look at that as long as I used to be able to. Oh no, these guys are awful. No time, Iwazaro. Pursued by monsters I can barely see. I forgot it was there. Oh yeah, these guys, there are protector smiles that show up in Curtis's mansion in other places, and I believe there's kind of a rock, paper, scissors gameplay with Mask's abilities with them. Iceman Dan, I'm interested to know which instrument do you prefer listening to Bach's work over, and whose arrangements? Because I'm kind of new to it. I've only been listening to it for about 4 months, but have been listening fairly with my usual degree of focus, and I'm always interested in seeing more. Yeah, those flying smiles, I have never, ever been able to hit. Oh, that's neat. Oh, cool. I don't think I ever noticed this before. I only ever looked at the crack there, which clearly that's meant for Mask to blow up. But Khan doesn't use his eyes. I don't know if he's blind or if he just chooses not to. But yeah, it visualizes sound when you're controlling him, so you can kind of see that there. That's neat. Oh, did that stop the music in the area? I think it did. That's kind of nice. This is one of the few areas where you can hear sound effects with no music and an echo. Just gonna kind of see what Mask's reload animation sounds like with the echo. I kind of want to give that a moment. Alright. Oh, yeah, that's nice. That sort of metallic, choppy metallic echo at the end of the reload animation. I like it. Glenn Gould is amazing. Is it Glenn Gould or Glenn Good? That name is spelled in such a way that makes me think that that L is tricky. Yeah, Mask is leveling up. Yeah, that reload speed. Yeah, once they give Mask that faster reload speed, he's a powerhouse. More so. If I remember right, I think handing killer7 projects forward into the period that you see in the epilogue where Harmon and Kunlun are fighting in, like, I think Shanghai, like 100 years in the future, and at that time it specifies that Mask is the dominant persona, whereas Dan is the dominant persona now, so that's neat. Partita or Partitia? I think I've always read an I in there. This is the tragedy of, and I say tragedy tongue-in-cheek, but the tragedy of encountering many things only in print and not having encountered or spoken about it with anybody. You kind of go with the spellings that come to mind, or through your misreadings, you know? And then hopefully you are with somebody who is gracious enough to appreciate the challenge and will guide you lovingly to the correct answer. Partita. Thank you. Music terms in particular are challenging because they are loaned, often from Italian, and Italian does have the distinct advantage of Romance languages of, in many cases, spellings are tied to pronunciations, so they are a bit easier in that way. But if you don't have like a huge background in them, the instincts might not be there. Oh yeah, these guys. They've been hanging around. Yeah, get some sleep, Ark. I'm glad you came by, but yeah, take care of yourself. Man. I don't know how strongly this hits. Wait, there was wasn't there a bullet in here? I don't know how this hits folks who might not have grown up during a time when, you know, like, I mean, nuclear weapons continue to always be a threat, but were very prominently so, and being aware of them was a big thing when I was growing up. But the missile destruction of Japan to this is just horrifying. I was thinking about that at the end. I was thinking about that before this stream, and realizing just like how just sour that sits in my gut is. It ain't good. Evening, Sim. It's good to see you. Also, good evening, Swimming. Maybe. I actually don't have my watch on me, and need to check and kind of see how far along we are. Sim, I want to thank you for that tip on how to take care of the flying smiles. That has absolutely altered my strategy on that. And now that I know that I can get plenty of thin blood from them. Can I bring Dan out? I need to go wake him up. That's a really good point. That it is. I'm curious, Swimmy, when you practice reading, do you articulate, or do you just read it in your head? What did I leave in that other room? Whenever I come across a phrase, one of the reasons why my self-instruction goes quite slowly is I kind of linger over the word. Oh, that's right, I'm looking for a Harmon's room to get Dan out. I linger over each word on the pronunciation. Oh, you blow up if I don't get to you soon enough. All right, gotcha. I still want to go for the duplicator. I've got 10 thin blood vials and nothing to do with them, so I might as well let Dan out of the box. Now, as far as languages go, I am a more tactile learner, so unless I like get the shape of it, I have a hard time remembering it. Proportionately, Susie's head seems very small in that box. As a matter of fact, when I was self-teaching Old English, I spent probably 2 weeks on just the pronunciation pages alone. The consonants are pretty easy, but the vowels took some work. Kind of like just figuring out, especially the ones that kind of live back here. And yeah, only after that was I able to like retain like grammar. Susie is not having any of your conformance nonsense. Oh, cool. I don't remember that sound effect as you get the time ring. That dying at that fight as Garcian sounds like a heartbreaker. Oh, good for her. Getting a new personal speedrun, speedrun personal best is fantastic. That's a great feeling. Oh no, Khan! Okay, good. We got the stamina ring on. And I think Travis alluded just a little while ago to Harmon's ability to absorb bodies. That's interesting. I guess even though it's actually really core to his story that Curtis killed Dan, for some reason in my mind I've always got it that Dan and Harmon had a scuffle prior to Dan becoming one of the Smiths, but that's not true. Oh man, 7 minutes is a huge jump. Gotta say, kudos to them on figuring out how to save on that that animation. Sadly, I only became really interested in speedruns after I hit a point where I don't quite have the time to focus on it. So, but I do very much enjoy seeing people succeed in them. It's wonderful knowing my own pleasure at getting a personal best. It's always great to see somebody who's dedicated to it reach that mark too. I guess one of the things that's great about witnessing those speedruns is vicarious pleasure in someone's success.
Dangerous.
There we go. Well, I hope Ark catches the VOD because they were wondering about Khan's zipping down that line. Yeah, Dan's history is fantastic. There we go. Let's unlock the Hellion. After we drop this off the bank. Good lord, swiveling that joystick so fast I have to start using my core because my wrist is complaining. So, let's see. Mask is gonna be my go-to guy for this boss fight. So we want him in great shape. Waver, I think, is fine. He's got grenade launchers. I think they're reliable enough. Yeah, Dan, I believe, as far as... well, I actually have some thoughts on the scene I think you're referring to, that I think... I'm not convinced that Garcian killed Dan in that scenario. I'm not actually... convinced that that's the significance of that scene, and part of it relates to what I've talked about earlier in the stream about having two different moments in time, or two different personalities or personae conflated into a single moment. But when we get to the Union chapter, I'll explain that a little more. It would probably just be confusing out of context for folks who haven't seen the game. But I'm glad you bring that up, because that is one of my favorite parts of the game, for the reasons that I like it. Let's get our boy Dan down there. That's... I mean, it's possible. My understanding of the killer7 as a syndicate is each of them had their, you know, they had their normal meat and time lives, like we have, and then they were killed either by Harmon or adjacent to Harmon, were absorbed by him, and then in their sort of afterlife exist ethereally within Harmon's sort of psychic realm, and then physically whenever they are transitioned to. But that in any death they experience in that form, I mean, I'm based off their death cries, I'm sure feels like death, but that's its sort of own sort of like purgatorial cycle of death and rebirth. That's my thought on it. Again, there's plenty of room to rearrange evidence so that things make sense. Oh no, I think I whiffed that one. I did. Whew. Oh no! I really want to put on that stamina ring. Gotcha. Oh, is this where we have Travis on mic? I think it is. Seattle Self-Defense Force. Self-Defense Force. Self-Defense Force. That's interesting, Sim. I think that that sounds like a plausible way to synthesize the Travis Strikes Again material with killer7 for sure. My way of, I don't know, I tend to take each game sort of in its own right, sort of like this is sort of the same way that I handle the Metal Gear Solid series. Is the meaning that I find in each game tends to be restricted to what existed in the series prior to its appearance. So Metal Gear Solid 2 only makes sense to me. Metal Gear Solid 2 makes sense to me as a game that exists when only Metal Gear Solid 1 exists, for example. So...
Boy, is this a bad time? I hope I'm not interrupting anything. Or am I?
And that's how Dan talks to kids, so... fun guy. Let's get this waiver. But yeah, and I know that I am a minority in that approach, but that's how they make most sense to me, rather than trying to take many games that are not super interested in developing a coherent sort of whole of sort of understanding and enjoying them to the fullest possible. Crown of Sonnets, yes! Thank you, Shantae. Speaking my language. Yeah. Oh no, you kidding me? I want to give Dan this moment. it pairs nicely with how. Oh, I really like the framing of this this entrance. That's nice. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I think it pairs nicely with what the other Remnant Psyches are saying about Dan going nuts if he even hears Curtis's name. That Dan is not one of the forerunners of this first venture out to investigate what Curtis is currently up to. That they got to keep things a little bit in check at the start. Yeah, cloning definitely shows up a lot. There are also, having played the Silver Case and seeing many of the themes there of, I mean, the Silver Case also tackles human trafficking and organ theft as a topic, I believe. And now seeing how it appears in more of Suda's games, I can understand that this is clearly a topic of real concern for him, and I mean, understandably so. It's evil. Yeah, I hear you. Evening, warm visitor. It's good to see you. There we go. That's where the soul shell is. Okay. Sorry, Wazaru, no time. All right. Maybe this? I kind of forget this puzzle. Yeah, there we go. Maybe I do remember it. Also, on the note of sort of conflating 2D and 3D spaces, I really like how when the message boxes pop up, they have the little crosshairs, almost as if, and the sort of checkerboard transparencies behind them. It does a really good job of calling attention to the 2D nature of that interface and also letting you see what's behind it, which is not super unusual for UIs, but in this case, because it's such a it's such a big part of the style, it becomes extra meaningful. There we go. I don't know. I'm inclined to think that Curtis is probably the worst out of all of them. he and Pedro are both uniquely awful. I mean, I mentioned this earlier. I think this might have been right before you hopped in, but I mentioned that one of the things that Suda is very good at is creating villains who you're absolutely not asked to sympathize with, that you are looking at and you're going, yep, these people are just irredeemably awful. And, oh right, this thing. And, Curtis Blackburn is one of them, and I think that one of the effects of that is that it makes your anti-heroes seem heroic, because there are depths to which they will not sink. Dangerous. And, but yeah, so part of me sees your point, and I agree that there's a point at which the badness is equivalent. However, the nature of what Curtis does is uniquely evil to me, and I can't, in my heart, find any parity between that and Parity, between that and what the other characters do, or what the other villains do. Alright, now we are finally ready to blow this security shelter and get going. I mean, yeah, everybody involved in that is patently horrible. That is correct. No disagreement here. It's interesting they bring out smiles that seem to be matches for Mask in terms of Hulk and all right, that's a rock paper scissors combination. In terms of bulk and pace, they're a little slower than him. I don't think I like this very much. Get some distance.
This is too easy. This is too easy.
All right, let's. Oh, how did that whiff? I don't buy it. All right, for real this time. Oh, no, no, no! Whoops. All right. Oh man, I'm nowhere in the stamina ring. What am I doing? Getting iced. That's what I'm doing. No, I think I'm okay. Thank you, though. What? Oh man, one of those guys is not worth a single blood vial. Oh. All right, that should bring us up to nope. Still gotta turn this crank. Okay. Getting it real good and close so I don't miss. There we go. Whew. Mercy. Do they respawn? They better not respawn. I'd be real unhappy if they respawn. Evening, Iceman Dan. Thanks for coming out, and thank you for assuring me of my pronunciation of Glenn Gould's name. If you go on YouTube and look up some of his, I think some of his public service announcements things, they're very funny. He was a man who knew how to not take himself very seriously. Let's see. Yes. Can I? Oh, alright. Good. That's the whole gang. Well, shoot. Well, then Kevin will be a good person to have in tow as soon as I get a little bit of blood in the bank. Give me just 1 second. I'm going to take a quick break, and I will be right back. Have a good night. Oh, back with water. A resource I've come to value even more since being stuck indoors during the smoke that just passed through. And yeah, it's a lot hotter indoors when you can't have fresh air circulating through. Well, as long as the mothers don't respawn here, I think I'm okay. Oh, for God's sake. Alright, we're gonna Kevin Smith our way through this. Oh my God. There we go. Now we are out of here. Later, nerd. Just backflip up these stairs real fast. Oh, interesting. Yeah, Kevin's definitely a tactical character. Kind of in the same vein that the Heaven Smiles being very goofy is a very interesting offset tonally to the seriousness of the topics that the story tackles. Iwazaru just being this goofball is also, I think it makes the weight of the game palatable at all, because there is something to lighten it a bit. All right. I believe I remember this one. Actually, in that sense, Kevin is kind of ideal for hitting weak points in one sense, because you don't risk killing them before you hit them. Ah. I say, not needing to reload is a treat. Oh god. Oh, hi. Ah. Could have sworn that that was my third hit that would have spun him around. Oh boy. I agree, Mirth. The camera work in these games it really takes advantage of the on-rails format to create some compelling framing and motion. And yeah, Sim, that is one of the reasons why I am such a fan of Metal Gear Solid, is Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 were really kind of the apex of this feature of the series. But the fact that it could have such an involved plot that takes itself so seriously, and yet also have a lot of really goofy stuff in it, as being, you could potentially build an entire gameplay strategy around the really goofy stuff it's got. And that's magical to me. Aspirational, even. Oh boy. Oh, I thought this was... It's just Travis. I mean, nothing personal, Travis, but I thought this was going to be my gun. Again, patently awful. And this also is reflected in Suda's... Oh, that's kind of a neat shot. Suda's other games, like in... This putting me back in Garcian? So it is. I think... Silver Case also has this, just these very grotesque, dehumanizing programs being sourced to a government activity. Actually, you can kind of tell some traces of that lineage in the way that this game is localized, because, like a self-defense force, I know that, like, the SDF, that's what the National Guard equivalent is called in Japan. They describe American institutions as ministries rather than cabinets, which ministries is also the term used for Japanese units of government. So it is still very much in that tradition of writing about even like American institutions from like through a lens of Japanese governmental terminology. So, which is to say that, yeah, Silver Case and as a forebear to that element in the game is, and that's a real connection. I am not familiar with those films, Mirth, but I will take a look for that director as soon as the stream is done. I am intrigued. Is there something they wanted me to... So I'm not sure if there's something essential to Garcian that I need to do here. Wait a minute. No, wait, okay, I see what's happening. They forced me to they forced me to control Garcian, probably because they had just that one animation for a character sitting down on the couch, the sofa, to make the transition back to that area. I do not necessarily need to control Garcian. Oh, Ghost in the Shell. Yes, I watched.
Make me see it. What, is this a bad time? I hope I'm not interrupting anything. Or am I?
Dan's VO is great. I'm kind of not sure if they used a different VO for Travis Strikes Again. But anyway, I saw the... this would have been back in 2000. I saw a dubbed feature of it back many, many years ago, but I have not kept up with any of its developments or other iterations. My reading on that is, so a huge part of this game is, you know, conflated or combined identities, or a blurred line between distinct identities, and entities that can be viewed as two or one. I think might be a good way of putting it. It's kind of a Zen idea. Let's see, so Japan is under America's control effectively because, in this game, because they rely upon US military intervention for their protection. Similarly, America relies on Japanese control and influence because of the electoral plot that's revealed later on that basically puts American interests at the behest of Japanese sort of governance, guidance, and so they're basically showing the interdependence of the two nations and the two identities. And so by having American institutions referred to under names that are usually reserved for Japanese governmental organizations, I think that's part of it. That is a viewing of America through a Japanese lens, just as America in this game could justly be through by virtue of the conspiracy that's revealed later on. So that's my take on it. That is to say absolutely nothing of how that might have come about in the localization, because I have no idea. And for my interests, it is something I'm less interested in. I mean, the developer in me is very, very interested in how decisions are made and how results are reached. The critic is less concerned about that and more concerned about the final effect. Like, I'm concerned about backflipping up that staircase. Digital rock. Very nice Gene Kelly stance there. Let's see if we can sneak past this fella, who I see hiding out behind us. Yes, in fact we can. Oh yeah, this is a Mask and Khan team up. And I do very much like the flourish that they gave Khan for performing a move that pretty much any adult can do, just by, like right here, just by crouching. Here you go. Here's Khan's big moment. The power to duck slightly. Truly possessed only by the few. Well, hold on. If you can save that for me until after I finish going through, I would appreciate that. It's been a while since I've encountered this, so I want to kind of enjoy it afresh. Oh man, the music in this area I don't believe is on the OST. I keep meaning to come back and record it. I'm going to put a save file here so I can do that later. There you are. Whew. I wasn't sure I hit that. There we go. Oh, interesting. Oh man, that's a bummer. But still, it's pretty cool to have discovered a new way of doing it. Especially in a game that can be as sort of linear and maybe samey between runs as Killer 7. Alright, I think we're probably just about to eat an explosion here. Oh no! Okay, it's just showing up behind me. So I remember Mask is the easy way through this, but this combining the previous area's track and the adjustments here, the overlay track, is a unique moment. Yeah, that's super cool. So let's start the game. Oh, maybe I need to activate it first. Oh, wild. Whoop. Yes. Maybe, there we go. I was thinking maybe having the character with the biggest waver to his handguns might not have been the smartest one for the absolute precision enemies. Mask has no time for that nonsense. Oh, this area has one of those flying things. Yeah, let's try Khan. Thank you for those recommendations. I will check those out for sure. You know what? I bet we could just dodge this. Later. Oh god, he turns around. I didn't know he did that. Learned something new. Oh, what? The heck did he hit? Oh, neat. I actually didn't know they had splash damage that that injured them as well. Oh, these guys are super goofy. They are one of the Smiles that have some of the most cartoony animations in this little mini boss. Oh, that's just one of those small guys that doesn't necessitate hiding from. Ah! Also, this minor key version of this song, I don't think is on the OST either. I love the encouragement of the UI. Did I get him? Oh, there's one more left. Oh yeah, now that there's a PC version, that seems like the way to go for that, isn't it? I keep forgetting that that exists. I think this might be one of the few, if only, areas where you fight a mini-boss like this, but you don't go through the Vinculum Gate to get there. Oh, so close. Oh, I'm just missing it by an inch. There we go. Here we go, Dan's moment. Thank you, Angel. Now we have 12 shots. A super zippy reload animation. See. Oh. Oh no, there's no reason to miss that. Alright, Dan, show us what you can do. Good enough. Whew. Stereo sound design on this game is so on point. As I'm hearing that guy coming up running from my right, it's just like you can kind of feel them right there. Alright, this is a good place to call it a night. I need to pack it in here, but this is good because we are right at the start of the Ayane Blackburn fight, which we ended last stream right before Almeida, and that got us off to a pretty good start here, so we'll do the same next week, or not next week, on Saturday. So yeah, thank you everybody for coming out. Sim, it's great to see you again, as Mirth as well. I'm glad to see you sticking around to the end of the stream and chat. And Shantae, Iceman Dan, Ark, at least two of those folks I know have left. Swimmy, everybody have a great night, and hope to see you again. Talking head in the red spectacle. Oh, nifty. Yeah, no, I'm super into that. Later.